examine why we had a test on the victim rather than the one that was aggressive. Let's not play this double standard of trying to demonize who is dead and sanitize who was the cause of the death.
That was Reverend Al Sharpton earlier today down in Sanford, Florida. Some right-wingers will do anything to defend Florida's stand your ground law, and they have no problem smearing an innocent kid in the process. Conservative blogger Michelle Malkin wrote that progressives are trying to turn Trayvon Martin's death into a racial litmus test, adding that President Obama's very personal remarks on the matter poured gas on the fire. Yet Malkin had no issue fanning the flames on her right-wing website by posting this picture claiming the African-American kid in the photo was Trayvon Martin. Turns out it was not. The website has since apologized, but needless to say, it was ruthless and reckless. I'm joined by Turner Clayton Jr., president of the Seminole County branch of the NAACP. Mr. Clayton, good to have you with us tonight. The new developments today on the press release that is out, the report that is out by the police department shed some light on it, and some seem to be using that as an effort to defend George Zimmerman. What do you make of this personal attack that's taken place in the characterization of the victim?
Well, we expected the right wing to come out that way. But when you look at all the evidence, you will find that actually Mr. Trayvon Martin was actually defending himself. And the fact that the stand your ground statute does not even apply in this case.
Other right-wingers are trying to tie the new Black Panthers to this story. Is this race baiting in your opinion, and what do you make of it?
Yeah, in fact, we don't even condone the action of the Black Panthers. The fact that they are offering a $10,000 bounty for Mr. Zimmerman, we don't condone that. And I understand they're also saying to bring him in dead or alive. That is not what we're all about. We're a nonviolent organization. We want justice to prevail in the courtroom.
Zimmerman's attorney and friends are out there painting Trayvon Martin as a villain. How sad is that?
That's very sad. Here's a victim who lost his life, but yet they're trying to defend the perpetrator who actually did the killing. Now, Mr. Zimmerman, who was in pursuit of Mr. Martin, was asked by the police dispatch, "Are you following this kid?" He said, "Yes, I am." "We don't need you to do that." Mr. Zimmerman should have stopped at that point, but he didn't. By continuing on, now Mr. Zimmerman is beginning to stalk Mr. Martin in this particular case. And of course, he got out of his vehicle and approached Mr. Martin. It was not the other way around. And of course, as if you are the aggressor, then you are the one who are perpetrating the crime. And that's what happened in this case.
Well, in the police report, it says that Zimmerman was allegedly bleeding from his nose and the back of his head, and that the officer thought that he had been laying on the ground because he had grass on his back. But none of the 911 audio matches up with any of that. And of course, we haven't heard all of the audio. And then, of course, the lady who has been trying to contact detectives, and they apparently didn't want to hear her side of the story. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think that's poor investigation. Apparently, she tried to make a statement earlier that night, and of course, they only took a brief statement from her. And of course, they were supposed to go back and get a more detailed statement, which they refused to do. And of course, this is not the way you conduct an investigation in a homicide.
Joe Oliver appears to be going out there trying to explain what Zimmerman actually said on tape. He said it's a difference between a C word and a G word. How does that ring with you? And what does it mean to you?
Well, I can take Mr. Oliver's word with a grain of salt. I don't believe anything he's saying. He's just there in order to try to credit Mr. Zimmerman and discredit Mr. Martin.
Well, in the soundbite we played earlier in this program, Mr. Oliver said that he knows that that word is a term of endearment. Goon is a term of endearment in high schools. Now, I thought the shooter was 28 years old. How would he know what George Zimmerman was saying and what it would mean? So how credible is Joe Oliver out there drawing conclusions? I mean, it just really plays into some kind of coordinated offensive that's being put out by Zimmerman's camp to discredit the victim.
Yeah, that's all it is. In fact, I think this is just a rehearsal from Mr. Oliver in order to try to make Mr. Zimmerman look good in the light. But at the same time, he's also making him look bad, because there's nothing that Mr. Oliver can say in order to try to change what was on the 911 tapes or the evidence that should have been collected by the police department that night.
Mr. Clayton, give us the mood of the community there. A lot of intense media pressure, meetings, demonstrations, advocates speaking out. What's the mood of the community and tonight's meeting?
Well, yeah, the mood is, they're very unhappy at the moment. There's a lot of unrest in the community, and of course we're trying to provide some type of way that they can actually vent that frustration without taking it out on other folks in the community. This is our community. We have to live here, and I understand that a lot of national figures are going to be coming in and revving the community up, but once they're gone, we're the ones who have to put the flames out. So yeah, the community is in an uproar at this moment, but we're doing everything we can to try to contain that.
Turner Clayton Jr., thanks for your time tonight. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us on The Ed Show. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush signed Stand Your Ground law into law in 2005. Now he's breaking his silence on the Trayvon Martin case and defending the measure. Former Florida State Senator Dan Gelber will join me on that.